Welcome back to the channel. Today we're exposing one of the biggest mistakes men make in dating, one that quietly destroys attraction without them ever realizing it. Could you be unknowingly turning romantic interest into friendship simply by trying too hard to do everything right? Why does one man leave a lasting impression with very few words, while another talks for hours and is quickly forgotten? 1. Attraction. Responds to presence, not approval. This point argues that attraction is influenced by how a person carries themselves rather than by constantly trying to win someone else's approval. The script suggests that many men believe the key to romance is always being agreeable, available, and careful not to upset the woman they like. While those behaviors can make someone seem kind and trustworthy, they do not automatically create romantic chemistry. The idea of presence refers to being emotionally grounded, confident, and comfortable with yourself. A person with strong presence enters a conversation without desperately trying to impress, convince, or seek reassurance. They listen attentively, maintain relaxed body language, speak with confidence, and express interest naturally instead of constantly asking whether they are doing everything correctly. By contrast, approval seeking happens when someone bases their behavior entirely on avoiding rejection. Examples include constantly apologizing when nothing is wrong, changing opinions just to be liked, over-texting because they fear losing interest, needing continuous reassurance, acting as though the other person's attention determines their self-worth. People generally find confidence more attractive because it signals emotional stability. Someone who values themselves is often perceived as more secure and independent than someone who appears anxious about every interaction. It's important to note, however, that confidence should never replace respect. In healthy relationships, confidence and respect exist together. Interest should always be mutual, and consent should always be clear. 2. Confidence is different from aggression. One of the biggest misconceptions in dating advice is that confidence means being dominant, controlling, or ignoring another person's feelings. In reality, genuine confidence is almost the opposite. A confident person expresses interest honestly, is comfortable taking initiative, accepts rejection without becoming angry or defensive, respects boundaries immediately, doesn't need to prove their value through intimidation or pressure. An aggressive person pushes after hearing no, believes confidence means ignoring boundaries, tries to control conversations or decisions, uses intimidation instead of connection, treats rejection as a challenge rather than an answer. The script uses the word leadership, but in healthy dating that simply means taking initiative appropriately. For example, suggesting a restaurant, planning a date, or confidently expressing romantic interest can all demonstrate leadership. What matters is that the other person is free to say yes or no without pressure. True confidence also means remaining calm regardless of the outcome. If someone declines a date or a kiss, a confident person accepts it gracefully and moves on. Their self-esteem doesn't depend on getting the answer they wanted. The key distinction is this. Confidence says, "I'm interested in you, and I'll respect whatever you choose." Aggression says, "I'm going to keep pushing until you agree." The first builds trust and allows attraction to develop naturally. The second damages trust and ignores the importance of mutual consent. 2. Confidence is different from aggression. Many people mistakenly believe that being confident means being dominant, forceful, or ignoring other people's feelings. In reality, genuine confidence is calm, respectful, and emotionally secure. A confident man takes initiative without trying to control the outcome. He is comfortable expressing his interest, making plans, or flirting naturally, but he also respects boundaries and accepts rejection without becoming defensive or angry. His confidence comes from his self-worth, not from whether someone says yes. Aggression, on the other hand, is driven by insecurity. An aggressive person feels the need to prove themselves, push boundaries, or pressure someone into responding the way they want. Instead of creating attraction, this often creates discomfort and destroys trust. The script's idea of leading is healthiest when understood as taking initiative while respecting the other person's choices. For example, confidently suggesting a date or leaning into a romantic moment only when it is clearly welcomed is different from pressuring someone. Healthy attraction requires enthusiasm and mutual interest from both people. The strongest form of confidence is emotional stability. A confident person remains composed whether the answer is yes or no. They do not need to chase, argue, or convince someone to like them because their self-esteem does not depend on another person's approval. 3. Desire is emotional, not purely logical. This point suggests that romantic attraction is influenced by emotions, chemistry, and personal connection rather than by logic alone. People often describe an ideal partner using logical qualities such as kindness, honesty, ambition, or reliability. While these traits are valuable for a healthy relationship, they do not automatically create romantic desire. Attraction is usually a combination of emotional excitement, shared experiences, physical chemistry, personality, confidence, humor, and timing. That is why someone can meet a person who seems perfect on paper, yet feel little romantic spark, while feeling strongly attracted to someone else whose personality simply connects with them emotionally. The script criticizes the belief that following a perfect set of rules will guarantee attraction. Many people assume that if they are always nice, always available, and never make mistakes, romantic interest will naturally develop. Real life is more complex. Attraction cannot be earned like collecting points. It develops through authentic interaction and mutual chemistry. This also explains why relying only on someone's words can sometimes be misleading. A person's stated preferences do not always match what they genuinely feel in a particular relationship. Feelings are influenced by many factors, including emotional connection, compatibility, life circumstances, and personal values. The practical lesson is not to manipulate emotions, but to become a more authentic, emotionally secure person. Rather than trying to perform the perfect role, focus on building confidence, communicating honestly, developing your own life, and allowing attraction to grow naturally. Healthy relationships are built on both emotional chemistry and mutual respect, not on games or persuasion. 2. Confidence is different from aggression. Expanded explanation. One of the biggest misunderstandings in modern dating is confusing confidence with dominance. Many people hear phrases like, "be more masculine," or "take the lead," and assume they need to become louder, more forceful, or emotionally cold. That isn't confidence. True confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to prove itself. A confident man knows what he wants, but he also understands that another person has complete freedom to choose. He expresses his interest without fear, yet he never tries to pressure someone into reciprocating. His self-worth is not dependent on getting the outcome he wants. Think about two different men entering the same date. The first man constantly worries about saying the wrong thing. He apologizes repeatedly, asks for reassurance after every conversation, and changes his opinions just to avoid disagreement. His actions communicate uncertainty rather than confidence. Even though he may be genuinely kind, his fear of rejection controls his behavior. The second man is relaxed. He laughs naturally, speaks honestly, and is comfortable with silence. He suggests activities instead of asking the other person to make every decision. If she disagrees with him, He doesn't panic or become defensive. He listens respectfully while remaining true to himself. His confidence comes from knowing who he is, not from needing approval. This is why emotional stability is often attractive. Confidence signals that someone can handle both success and rejection without losing their composure. They don't become jealous over small things. Send 10 follow-up messages after one unanswered text, or constantly seek reassurance. However, confidence must never cross into aggression. Aggression appears when someone believes they deserve another person's attention simply because they are interested. It can show up through guilt-tripping, refusing to accept rejection, invading personal space, or trying to pressure someone into intimacy. These behaviors do not demonstrate strength. They reveal insecurity and a lack of respect. Healthy confidence says, "I'm interested in you, but I respect your decision." Aggression says, "I'll keep pushing until you change your mind." Only the first creates the foundation for a healthy relationship. Ultimately, real confidence is built through self-respect. It comes from having your own purpose, hobbies, friendships, and goals outside dating. When your entire identity doesn't depend on whether one person likes you, you naturally become calmer, more authentic, and more attractive. 3. Desire is emotional, not purely logical. Expanded explanation. One of the script's central ideas is that attraction is driven by emotions more than by logic. While people often describe the qualities they want in a partner, what they actually feel can be influenced by emotional connection, chemistry, timing, personality, and shared experiences. Imagine someone making a list of their ideal partner. They might write, kind, honest, loyal, hardworking, funny, responsible, attractive. Those qualities are important. They help build a healthy relationship. But meeting someone who has every item on that list does not automatically create romantic attraction. Chemistry cannot be manufactured simply by checking boxes. This explains why two people can be equally attractive and kind, yet one creates an immediate spark while the other feels more like a friend. The difference often lies in emotional connection rather than objective qualities. The script argues that many people rely too heavily on logic when dating. They think, if I'm always nice, she'll eventually fall for me. If I buy dinner every time, she'll appreciate me enough to become attracted. If I never make mistakes, she'll choose me. Relationships rarely work this way. Kindness, respect, and generosity are essential for a lasting relationship, but they do not guarantee attraction. They are foundations, not substitutes for chemistry. Emotional attraction often develops through experiences that create genuine connection. These include sharing laughter, feeling understood, respecting each other's individuality, enjoying meaningful conversations, feeling emotionally safe, experiencing natural romantic chemistry. Another important lesson is that people's words and feelings do not always perfectly match. Someone might genuinely believe they want a certain type of partner, yet later discover they feel more connected with someone different. Human emotions are complex and influenced by countless factors that cannot always be explained logically. This is why trying to earn attraction through perfect behavior usually leads to frustration. Attraction is not a reward for flawless performance. Instead of trying to become exactly what you think another person wants, it is healthier to become the best version of yourself. Confidence, authenticity, emotional maturity, and genuine compatibility create much stronger relationships than pretending to be someone else. The healthiest approach is not to ask, how can I make someone desire me? A better question is, how can I become a confident, emotionally healthy person who naturally attracts someone I'm genuinely compatible with? That mindset shifts the focus from seeking validation to building lasting self-confidence and healthier relationships. 5. Emotional control is more attractive than emotional reactivity. The 5th point argues that emotional stability often creates more attraction than emotional impulsiveness. It is not saying that people should hide their emotions or become emotionally distant. Instead, it emphasizes the value of responding calmly rather than reacting impulsively. Many people become emotionally reactive when they are anxious about losing someone. They may overanalyze delayed replies, become jealous over social media activity, send repeated messages seeking reassurance, or let every change in mood affect their own emotional state. When this happens consistently, it can communicate insecurity and make the relationship feel emotionally draining. By contrast, someone with emotional control remains steady regardless of temporary uncertainty. If a text message goes unanswered for a few hours, they continue with their own responsibilities instead of assuming the worst. If a disagreement occurs, they communicate respectfully instead of becoming angry or desperate. Their emotional state is not controlled by another person's behavior. This emotional steadiness creates confidence because it shows self-respect and independence. Rather than trying to control another person's actions, they focus on controlling their own responses. The script also mentions that people sometimes test one another. In healthy relationships, this is better understood as observing how someone handles stress, disagreement, or uncertainty. Most people naturally notice whether a partner becomes overly jealous, emotionally dependent, or remains calm under pressure. Responding with maturity builds trust far more effectively than reacting impulsively. This does not mean ignoring problems or pretending not to care. Healthy emotional control means expressing concerns honestly while remaining respectful and composed. For example, instead of sending 10 messages after one unanswered text, you simply wait for a response. Instead of accusing someone of cheating because they were busy, you ask questions calmly if something genuinely concerns you. Instead of arguing to win, you discuss issues to understand each other. The overall lesson is that emotional maturity is attractive because it demonstrates confidence, self-control, and resilience. 6. Mutual attraction works better than trying to convince someone. The 6th point centers on an important principle. Genuine intimacy should never be something that one person has to persuade or pressure the other into. Healthy attraction develops when both people naturally want the relationship to move forward. The original script phrases this as, "make her suggest it first," but a healthier interpretation is to focus on creating a connection where both people feel comfortable expressing mutual interest. The goal is not manipulation or psychological tactics. The goal is to build enough trust, chemistry, and comfort that intimacy develops naturally if both people want it. The script criticizes behaviors such as repeatedly asking when intimacy will happen or trying to convince someone through emotional pressure. When someone feels pressured, even subtly, attraction often decreases because they no longer feel free to make their own choice. Instead, it encourages slowing down and allowing romantic tension to develop naturally. Spending quality time together, maintaining meaningful conversation, showing genuine confidence, respecting personal space, and allowing moments of silence can all strengthen emotional connection without forcing anything. One important idea is that attraction grows best when both people feel they are choosing each other voluntarily. People generally enjoy relationships more when they feel free rather than pressured. However, this point should always be balanced with an essential principle. Consent should never be assumed. Nonverbal signals can be misunderstood. If there is uncertainty about whether physical intimacy is welcome, Asking clearly and respectfully is not a weakness, it is responsible communication. Many people find direct communication attractive because it demonstrates confidence and respect at the same time. The broader lesson is this: don't chase or pressure someone into intimacy. Build confidence, emotional connection, and mutual trust. Allow attraction to develop naturally. Respect boundaries immediately if interest is not mutual. Healthy relationships are strongest when both people feel excited to move forward together, rather than when one person feels persuaded or obligated. As we come to the end of this discussion, remember one thing above all else: genuine attraction cannot be forced, negotiated, or earned through endless approval seeking. It grows when two people feel a natural connection, mutual respect, and authentic confidence. The strongest version of yourself is not the one who constantly chases validation, but the one who knows his worth, communicates honestly, and remains emotionally grounded regardless of the outcome. Real confidence isn't about pretending to be fearless or copying someone else's personality. It's about developing self-respect, emotional maturity, and a life that doesn't revolve around another person's attention. When you stop trying to impress everyone and start becoming the best version of yourself, your relationships become healthier, your decisions become clearer, and the people who genuinely value you will recognize that confidence. If this video gave you a new perspective, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever realized that confidence and emotional stability changed the way people responded to you? I'd love to hear your experience. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into psychology, relationships, and personal growth. Until next time, stay confident, stay respectful, keep investing in yourself, and remember, lasting attraction begins with becoming someone who values themselves first. Every man reaches a point where he has to choose between chasing validation and building genuine confidence. One path is exhausting. It keeps you wondering why your effort isn't being returned, why your kindness isn't creating attraction, and why you're constantly second-guessing yourself. The other path is quieter, but far more powerful. It begins the moment you stop trying to become the person everyone else wants and start becoming the strongest version of yourself. Remember, attraction isn't created by pretending to be someone you're not. It's built through confidence, emotional maturity, authenticity, and mutual connection. The goal is never to manipulate someone into liking you or to ignore their boundaries. Real strength is shown by expressing interest honestly, respecting the other person's choices, and remaining secure regardless of the outcome. A man who knows his value doesn't need to convince anyone to see it. The truth is, people are naturally drawn to those who have purpose beyond relationships. When your happiness depends entirely on another person's attention, you hand over your peace of mind. But when you continue pursuing your goals, improving your health, building your career, strengthening your mindset, and living with purpose, you become someone whose confidence comes from within rather than from external approval. That kind of confidence cannot be faked, and it cannot be taken away. The strongest men aren't the loudest in the room. They don't compete for attention or desperately seek validation. They listen more than they speak. They remain calm when others panic. They don't chase every opportunity because they understand that what is truly meant for them doesn't require them to abandon their self-respect. Their confidence is reflected in their actions, not in empty words. If there's one lesson to take away from this video, let it be this: stop trying to force attraction and start building yourself. Become physically stronger, emotionally wiser, mentally disciplined, and socially confident. Learn to communicate with honesty, treat people with respect, and never confuse confidence with arrogance. The healthier you become as a person, the healthier your relationships will become as well. Now, I'd like to hear from you. Which of these 6 principles challenged your thinking the most? Have you ever realized that your own confidence, or lack of it, changed the direction of a relationship? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might help someone else who is struggling with the same questions. If you found this video valuable, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because we're just getting started. In the next video, we'll uncover even more insights into psychology, confidence, attraction, and the behaviors that shape modern relationships. You won't want to miss it. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and remember this: the most attractive quality you can ever develop isn't a clever line or a perfect strategy. It's becoming a person who respects themselves, values others, and walks through life with quiet confidence. That's the kind of presence people remember long after the conversation ends.